All right, good evening, parents, and welcome to Open House. Hopefully you're in the right place. This is the seventh grade team. While you were waiting, I did put the link for the form to fill out for the parent information. So if you would, at some time during this presentation, please go ahead and click on that link and input your information for us, okay? All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming. So we're gonna go ahead and meet the teachers of pod 1. There are 3 different pods on this grade level, and we're gonna start off with our advisor.
Good morning, good afternoon, I'm sorry, parents and scholars. My name is Ms. Franklin. I am the 7th grade advisor. I am also the middle school math instructional coach, and I've been in education for 15 years, and this is my 3rd year at Sugar Creek. I'm so excited to work with the 7th grade team, as well as parents, and of course, the administration team. So thank you guys for coming, and we can go to our next person.
Hello, good evening again. I'm Miss Leek. I am the team lead for 7th grade, and I'm also the science teacher. I teach 7th grade here. This is my 3rd year at Sugar Creek. I've been in education for 13 years. I graduated from North Carolina Central University, where I received my bachelor's as well as my master's. And if you look over to the left, you'll see the remind codes for my different blocks. So whichever block you are in, parents, if you could, please go ahead and sign up for that remind so that we can send you messages throughout the day, which is a quicker way for us to get in touch with you. Again, please go to the Remind app and use the code for your student specific block, and make sure that you're able to sign up so that we can communicate with you. This is a quicker way outside of email. Just some supplies that you'll need for my class is a 3-ring binder, a composition book, pencil, pen, erasers, colored pencils, and marker, okay? And if you need to contact me, if you have any questions, or if you need to set up a conference for pod 1, if you would go ahead and just send me an email, and my email address is listed right here. That's leak, leak.chantel, chantel at thesugarcreek.org. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Worthy. I'm 7th grade mathematics. My education, I'm with the East Carolina University. And my mission as a teacher is just to help, every child discover a joy for learning and just maximize their potential. And just some essential needs for my class is pencil, paper, and notebook. And make sure you bring a positive attitude and be ready to learn. Because if you supply the positive attitude, I guess, our team, we can try to supply you the best knowledge we can.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Jackson. I teach 7th grade English. My education, I got my bachelor's at Winston-Salem State University and my master's at Southern New Hampshire University. My mission as a teacher is to equip and empower scholars with the tools and confidence needed to be successful in the classroom and in life. So the essentials that you'll need for my class to work be pen, paper, notebook, as well as a writing journal. And just some hobbies about me. I like to run, hunt, read, and hike.
All right, next we're gonna have the pod 2 teachers.
Okay, good morning. I'm not gonna give you hobbies of what I like to do, other than long walks and teach kids. Nah, just messing. Anyways, I'm Mr. Javis. I teach social studies, civics, PBL, which is project-based learning. And so some of the stuff that we will go over in my class is definitely the civics and economics, understanding what government is, understanding what states are, and the power that citizens of North America have and across the world. Please, 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 if possible, I am a fan of 3-ring binders or a spiral notebook. I can't stand composition notebooks. A lot of us, we will do our notebooks together in my class. So my page 1 should be their page 1 and my page 22 should be their page 22. And of course, a composition notebook is smaller, so that won't be able to happen. So if that could happen, that would be helpful. They would definitely need some headphones. You don't have to get Beats, but just some regular headphones for them to hear, flashcards, anything to build a project such as colored pencils, markers, crayons, anything like that. In my class, we will have 6 projects. They will, of course, their first project will be a state float project. They will get their state. We will have homework, which is newspaper articles, current events on every Friday. The first Friday in September will be their first one. I will show them how to do it, what is required, and we will do that in class. Their subject for their homework and any projects coming up will be in the back of the class on a calendar. So if your kids are in pod 2, which you could find out in their power school, because that should already be set up, they should be able to see who their teachers are. That would be a way to let them know also, parents and us, as I will give them the remind codes when we get back to school and they get their syllabus, which they have to take home for you to sign, but also that will help us keep in communication. Ask your student, your child, your scholar for a picture of the calendar. So then you can see if they're telling you the truth. Other than that, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Miss Dowles. I do apologize for my video being off, but we are trying to handle some things at the moment. I am excited to have you guys for 7th grade ELA this year. This is my 2nd year at Sugar Creek. And just some things needed for my class: a spiral or a composition notebook, 3-ring binder, and make sure you guys have pencils and paper. I'm sorry, pencils and erasers, because Ms. Dowles loves to write. So whenever Ms. Dowles writes, you guys write as well.
Oh, sorry, guys, I realized I was on mute. So I am Mrs. Manley. I will be teaching 7th grade math as well as advanced math this school year. As you clearly see on the top of the screen there, that my remind code is just one code. Is going to be Manley Math. It wasn't, I guess they had to cut off the H. So basically in my class, what the students are going to need is a composition notebook. I am the opposite of Mr. Javies. I do not do spiral, only because I had a bad experience where I got cut really bad and had to get a shot. So no spiral for my class. It's just do straight up composition notebook. They are going to need a folder or a 3-ring binder. It could be either or, where they can just put in any loose paper that I may give them in class. They definitely are going to need headphones, pencils, erasers, glue sticks, markers, color pencils, and scissors. I do interactive notebook in my class, and so they will need those particular items to do the interactive notebooks. I am originally from New York, but I was raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I graduated from Fayetteville State University with an undergrad in business administration, concentration in management, and with my graduate degree, master's in teaching in middle grades mathematics. So I look forward to working with the students this year.
All right, next, let's meet the teachers in part 3.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Abibi. I teach 7th grade ELA. I studied English at UNC Chapel Hill. This is my 7th year in the classroom and my 6th year here at Sugar Creek. One of my strongest beliefs is that growth mindset is the only mindset. So in my class, you can expect your students to practice that skill of just thinking and believing that they can grow. And with that mindset, they will grow. You'll see the signature quote on my emails to you. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who plan for it today. So again, just along with that growth mindset, making sure that we're preparing for the future by 1, believing that we can prepare for the future, and then 2, acting on that belief. To the side, you will see the 4 major skills that we will focus on in 7th grade ELA this year. That will be inferences, context clues, in other words, vocabulary, central idea, and then relationships between characters and ideas. To keep in touch with me or to get those frequent updates that Ms. Leek spoke on earlier, please text the number 8, or excuse me, text at 7ELARA to the number 81010. Or if you already have the Remind app, you can go ahead and enter that 7ELARA code in there. Thank you. Up next, we have my partner, my teaching partner.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. Chasen. I will be assisting Miss Abibi this year, facilitating small groups and supporting her as well in the classroom. I study liberal studies and graduated with my bachelor's from North Carolina A&T. I'm currently studying school counseling, getting my master's, and I look forward to meeting you all this year. And this is my first year at Sugar Creek, so excited.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mrs. Hayden. I am going to be teaching 7th grade math. I graduated from Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. This is my 6th year in the classroom, and my educational philosophy is that every child is entitled to an enriching education, respect, and professionalism. We all have a way that we should be treated, and our children deserve to be treated the same way. This is my first year here at Sugar Creek, and I'm extremely excited to be able to work with your students and get to meet you all throughout the school year. For the 2 blocks that I have, there are the Remind codes on there, but as far as school supplies, as well as the Remind codes, that information, more information will go home the first week of school, but also you can find that on my website as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, there we go. Hi, everyone, and hello, scholars. I am Miss Danzy. I am one of the 7th grade science teachers here in the 3rd pod at Sugar Creek Charter School. This is going into my 4th year of teaching science for middle school. And in my class, students will be enhancing their investigative and critical thinking skills while exploring physical, living, and earth science. Now, for my class, we need the same essentials. You would need a notebook, highlighters, pencils, and a binder as well. My little quote is not there, but my philosophy for education is always put your best foot forward. What you go through today does not determine your final destination. So always put your best foot forward. And I cannot wait to see all of you on Monday. Nice meeting you all.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening and with 7th grade. Thank you for having me. I'm going to introduce, my name is Mr. Saunders, by the way, and I teach grades 5 through 8 ESL. That's English as a second language. I'm going to give a little bit of background about the intervention team and also ESL, which ESL is a part of that team for middle school. The interventionists that will be working with your children in middle school will be Miss Bishop, and you see the interventionist listed there below, and she works with grades 5 through 8 math. So the intervention team is a team that gives that extra layer of support, which I'll go into in just a second. So Miss Bishop will be given that extra layer of support for students in the area of math in 7th grade. And then Miss Hardy, as you can see on the bottom right, she will be given that extra layer of support for students in 7th grade ELA. Next slide, please. So just to give you a little bit of background, as I was saying, what is intervention? Because you may have heard it before if you've been at Sugar Creek, but if you're new, you may not be familiar with it. It follows the MTSS system, which you may have heard of in other schools as well. But basically, if you look at the diagram to the right, it's basically just a leveled system that gives students support beginning at level 1 or tier 1, which is in the classroom. Then it goes into tier 2, which is where intervention comes in, and ESL. And we support students at that level just to give them better overall success in the classroom, and just to try different strategies with them and different interventions that will help them be more successful in the classroom. And this is highly based on data and progress monitoring. So every week in intervention, we're looking at the data and growth of all the students to get them to where they need to be. Next slide, please. Just a little bit more information about what an intervention class looks like. In your child's 7th grade schedule, they will actually have a 7th grade intervention block. And these classes are about 45 minutes each day. As I said, this is very differentiated, specialized instruction targeted on the exact skills that your child needs if they are in intervention. This group of students typically applies to students that may have been retained, students that are repeating, and also students that may be going into tier 3, which involves the EC or ESL support services. And this is on a daily and weekly basis that we're working and supporting these students. Next slide, please. And now we get to more of my department, which, as I said, I work in ESL for middle school, grades 5 through 8. I introduced myself, I'm Mr. Saunders again. And the way that we support in ESL, if you're not familiar with what ESL is, it's English as a second language. So this normally applies to students who may speak another language at home. This may be Spanish, it may be French, it may be an African language, Chinese, it can be many different languages. And there are many different levels of ESL students. Sometimes ESL is seen as just an intervention group or a special group for students who don't speak English, but that's not necessarily true. There are many different levels from beginning to advanced of ESL students. So I'm very excited to work with your child in these areas this year in ESL. And these include listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I'm going to put a link in the chat as well if you are a new ESL. This is only for new ESL parents. If you will please fill out this new ESL. If you've been at Sugar Creek before, then you don't have to fill out this form. This is only if it's your first year as a student who may speak another language at home. So I just put that link in the chat. Next slide. All right, and I will hand it back to 7th grade to introduce some norms and goals of the EC team at Sugar Creek and also the EC team. Thank you, guys.
Okay, our mission. The mission of the Exceptional Children Division is to ensure that students with disabilities develop intellectually, physically, emotionally, and vocationally through the provision of an appropriate individualized education program in the least restrictive environment. And the staff is T. Franklin, who is the EC Competence Coordinator, C. Torrance, who is the EC Instructional Coordinator, C. Wilson, who is the ELA 5th through 8th grade, and J. McGuire, who's a speech pathologist.
All right, now to cover some of the things we expect students to bring, not to bring, to wear, not to wear when they are at school beginning Monday. Your scholars are allowed to bring a water bottle. They may bring a bottled water or a clear liquid container. Because we are working with technology this school year, we do ask that the water bottle, oh my goodness, be placed away from technology or drank when technology is not being used, of course. And then with cell phones, we know that our scholars may have cell phones. They do need to communicate with you all, but we just ask that during school hours, their cell phones are powered off and then placed in their book bags. For those of you who've been at Sugar Creek before, this may be a little bit of a different policy as far as students keeping the phone with them rather than placing them in a cell phone pocket or in a container. We want to make sure that the cell phones are powered off to minimize distractions, but we do want them to stay in their book bags and not be out or placed in these pockets due to COVID provisions.
All right, so this is our student support team. So our social workers are Miss Craney, who is the social work for elementary, and then we have Miss Dawkins, who does the social work for the middle school. And then we have Ms. Barnes, which is the Dean of Students and the Director of Student Support for elementary, and Mr. Samuel, who is the middle school Dean of Students, as well as the reset, the ISS coordinator, Mr. Ashcroft, Mr. Bolden, who is our school counselor, and then we have our behavior modification technicians, which is Ms. Price and Mr. McQueen. So these are our STAR rules, and these rules are school-wide. So just to go over those briefly. So S is to show respect for yourself and others. T is to transition in an orderly manner. A, accept responsibility for your actions. R, ready to learn at all times. And S, support your school.
All right. I've been nominated. So this is our uniform. Of course, if you have been here before, if you are new, what it is it's a burgundy polo shirt. It does have our emblem on the side. And so that is definitely needs to be worn and tucked into your khaki pants, which is probably the next slide. And so that's a picture of our complete uniform. So you must have a burgundy polo shirt, and or definitely if you have the sweatshirt, but long as it has the emblem on it, the cardigan, if you have that, the emblem, but you still have to have your burgundy shirt on under, and then your khakis. You can have khaki bottoms, the khaki skirt, khaki shorts, or the khaki dress. All right. So long as it is that khaki color, then those would all be permitted. Also, I believe that you have to have on a belt, and that must be a solid black belt. There it is, bling. So you must have a solid black belt on with your uniform. Of course, I think the skirt and the dress does not have belt loops, so then you don't have to wear one then. But with your pants and shorts, you do have to. And the next one is solid black shoes. As always, to minimize, and I think the reason why we do our uniform is to minimize the distractions of our of outside clothes and things like that, as those could bring distractions to kids. But the uniform is pretty simple: khaki pants, burgundy shirt, and solid black shoes. Your outerwear has to be a solid color hoodie, or sweatshirt or sweater. All right, but it cannot have polo on it. It can't have Aeropostale across from it, even though I love those, but it has to be a solid navy blue, a solid burgundy sweatshirt, sweater, or jacket.
All right, so back to school safety. We're going to be talking about masks. Students will not be allowed to board bus or enter buildings without masks. Parents, you are responsible for providing masks daily. Students who habitually arrive without a mask will lose bus privileges and will be isolated until their parents bring a mask. All right, so some general classroom supplies, 3-ring binder, composition books, sanitizing wipes, sanitizer, pencils, pens with blue or black ink, glue sticks, colored pencils, and scissors. And right now, this is our 7th grade block schedule. So we have 8:50 to 9:20 is going to be block 1 small groups, and 9:50 to 10:20 is going to be block 1. 10:25 to 11:10 is going to be specials. 11:10 through 11:55 is going to be SEL. 11:55 through 12:25 is going to be block 2 small groups, and 12:30 to 1:30 is going to be block 2. 1:35 to 2:05 will be lunch. 2:10 to 2:40 is going to be block 3 small groups, and 2:40 to 3:50 will be block 3.
This year we are offering, or there will be, an after-school academy, the RACC After School Academy at Sugar Creek Charter. This after-school academy will serve grades K through 8, and they will be running from 4 to 6 p.m. at Sugar Creek Charter School. This is a grant-funded program with a maximum capacity of 400 students, and they will have snack and dinner included. If you are interested and eligible to register, you can go to raisechildcarolinas.org/SCCS.
All right, parents. So these are the transportation changes for this year. If at any time at all you need to make changes to how your child would normally get to school, all we ask is that you contact the front office before 2 p.m. So that gives us enough time to be able to let the teachers know and make the needed adjustments. For our lunchtime, students will walk through the cafeteria to retrieve their lunches, and they will eat in the classroom. So right now, for COVID safety protocols, students will just walk down the halls, pick up their lunch, and then they will return back to their homeroom classrooms to eat lunch.
Good evening, everybody. My name is LaShawn Kimber. I am the middle school drama teacher. I look forward to working with you all. A little bit about SEL. SEL is social emotional learning. And so we at Sugar Creek Charter are going to be doing a curriculum called Second Steps, which draws from the latest research to help children handle strong emotions and to make them follow through on good decisions and create strong friendships while avoiding or de-escalating social conflicts with their peers. Every day, students will receive a daily SEL or social emotional learning lesson during specials and SEL activities during homeroom.
Hello, my name is Mr. Black. I'll be some of you all's PE health teacher this year. I have some other colleagues that will also be teaching some other classes and specials as well. But today I've been given the athletics. And with athletics, as you can see on the screen, right now, as we get adjustments, we just going day by day, finding things out. But we will have our fall sports. And as you can see, the tryouts are dated there, 17th of August and the 18th of August. And Thursday next week from 4:30 to 5:45, students must have complete physical by their physician and concussion from the tryout. Physical and concussion forms are available online for or school website. Students also must be picked up from the main campus by 5:45. Any questions, contact Mr. Walls via email. And that is on the school website as well. You can just click his link, find his name and click his link. And from there, you have cross-country trials will be at the main campus on August 31st and September 1st from 4:30 to 5:45. Students must have a complete physical by their physician and concussion forms to try out. Students also must be picked up from the main campus by 5:45 as well. Any questions, you can direct those to Mr. Walls for that. As far as volleyball will be announced at a later date during the school year, but please pay attention during morning announcements as those details will be changing daily. And then as far as athletics continue, as we continue on through the year, we're aiming to be optimistic and have those winter sports and spring sports as well. So we're going to go ahead and you can see those things and we'll keep everyone updated for those. But basketball and cheerleading will start in October. And then for spring sports, baseball and softball will start in February next year.
Okay, so if anybody needs help with the parent portal, this is how the parents can request access or information from Mr. Dunn. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat for you as well. And make sure that you place that somewhere just in case y'all have questions when it comes to accessing the parent portal and being able to look at your child's information. Okay. Also, I would like to remind parents that if you need to make any transportation changes, that needs to be done via Pick My Kid. And that is before 2 o'clock. Any transportation changes need to be made via Pick My Kid before 2 o'clock. Thank you. At this time, does anybody have any questions? If so, please feel free to put those questions in the chat, or if you need to ask a question directly, feel free to use the reactions and the icons and just use the raise your hand so that we can call on you. Mr. Saunders, there's something in the chat for you.
Yeah, if there are any Spanish-speaking parents that have questions, si tienen preguntas, también puedes poner en el chat. Gracias.
While we're waiting on questions, I just wanted to say that I need to, tonight is high school, not graduation. I'm trying to rush it. Tonight is high school open house, so I'm about to depart to there. So thank you, parents, and I will see you all on the first day, on Monday.
All right, Ms. Leek, we have a couple questions. One is, do the children get technology? You want to go ahead with that one?
So yes, the students will have technology in the building only. They'll have it in the building only. And we should be getting technology the second week of school.
Okay, next question. When are the students going to get their bus numbers and how do you sign up for the after-school program?
Good afternoon, parents. My name is Ms. Morrow. I am the middle school math facilitator and formerly the 7th grade advisor. If you signed up for Parent Portal, or if you, when you registered your scholar, you gave an accurate email address, homeroom and transportation information was sent out earlier this week via Bright Arrow. So if you would check your Bright Arrow provided email address that you read when you registered, the homeroom information as well as transportation information, bus numbers, stops, and times were emailed out earlier this week.
I saw a hand raised. If you would, please go ahead and unmute for me.
Yes, ma'am. I was just curious about schooling, and I know everybody's probably concerned about it, but COVID. I know that you guys probably are unable to have the kids 6 feet apart in the classroom, but has the school discussed, the school leadership discussed anything about COVID? And if there are any type of changes that will occur with school as well as riding the bus?
You'd like me to take that question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, as well as the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, provided each school with the North Carolina Toolkit that lists the COVID or COVID-19 protocol, as well as SARS-2 protocols and guidelines. So Sugar Creek Charter will be following those guidelines provided from DHHS and NCDPI. We also follow the guidelines from the CDC that are applicable to the North Carolina Toolkit. So every CDC recommendation does not necessarily have to be followed. It is a recommendation. We will follow those that are provided to us by Health and Human Services, NCDPI, as well as the Mecklenburg County Health and Human Services Department. All of our students, as well as all of our staff, are to be masked at all times, except for when students are eating lunch, and students are not allowed to talk while they're eating lunch. So we follow all of the COVID protocols. We will be changing over to touchless water fountains, faucets, and urinals and commodes so that we minimize the spread of COVID-19. Our classrooms are cleaned every day. Our desks are wiped in between the transition of the scholars, and the technology carts that are provided will move with the scholars from block to block so that each scholar has exactly one device that they'll be using all day. Any information that we receive will be communicated to parents in terms of if there's an outbreak following those guidelines of NCDPI, DHHS, and the Mecklenburg County Health and Human Services Department. And any changes to the school schedule, meaning if we were to go out remote again, that will also be communicated. We follow those guidelines of NCDPI and NCDHHS.
Thank you so much, Ms. Morrow.
You're welcome.
Some more questions from the chat. Are the students switching classrooms for their different blocks?
Yes, students will be switching classes to the different blocks.
Mr. Black, I think this one is for you. In PE, will the students be able to take off their mask while they are running so they can breathe?
Yes, at no time we will have our mask offs inside. However, outside, if we're able to social distance in like a field area, you are be able to pull it down, but you still have to keep it on your face.
And the last question that I see so far is, what if you have not received an email from your child's teacher? Ms. Morrow? Or
I
Ms.
think
Beebe?
they were asking, I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayden, thank you. I think they were asking, what do they do if they don't know who their child's teacher is yet? How long should they?
If you do not know your child's teacher, it could be because the email address that was provided is no longer accurate. And what you can do is if you will fill out the Google form that was placed in the chat with the bit.ly SCCS parent link, and then Mr. Dunn will then update your profile with the information that you provide. It generally takes about 24 to 48 hours. If you have not heard anything in 48 hours, you can contact the school, and generally they will send you, forward your call or your information back to the middle school curriculum office.
I just saw another question come into the chat. What can my child do if she has her teachers but not her actual schedule? The block schedule that we read out earlier, all of the students on the 7th grade will follow. And so all the teachers that are listed there, they will just move from class to class. But when your child does get to their homeroom teacher, they'll be able to explain that schedule more to them as well. Like as far as what teacher they go to next and then after that. I hope that helps. And then lastly, lastly, will there be a video of this open house available on the school website?
Videos of open house will be provided on the website for those parents who are unable to attend.
Are there any more questions from any of the parents here? All right, if not, if all hearts and minds are clear, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a good evening.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.